The director of Truth or Dare and Fantasy Island comes the next horror movie, Magic 8 Ball. Shake the ball, get your answer. Will you die? Will you survive? You'll have to find out. Spring 2022. At this point, he'll probably do it. I'm just saying. So, Fantasy Island is directed by Jeff Wadlow, who previously directed Truth or Dare. Yeah, that was real. That actually happened. And it stars a few people, including Lucy Hale, Maggie Q, Michael Pena, and it's about a group of people who are sent to this mysterious island where the head of the island, played by Michael Pena, who plays Mr. Rourke, he says, you can have your fantasy, your dream come true on this island. And basically everyone learns that their fantasy is not what it actually was going to be. It's actually going to be something slightly different. Now, when I first saw the trailer for this movie, I thought it just looked like a stereotypical slasher movie. It didn't really appeal to me that much, and like I knew Fantasy Island was a TV show, and it's like, okay, they're taking the show Fantasy Island and giving it a horror bent. I'm not sure if that was originally a horror show, but I doubt it. But it didn't really interest me. And again, coming from the director of Truth or Dare, movie I admittedly did not watch, but I knew a lot of people who watched it and they did not like it. So I just skipped that one. And I wish I skipped this one. This is bad. This is really, 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 really bad. There are only a couple things that are good in this movie. A couple of the actors do a good job. First off, Maggie Q is pretty good. She's arguably the main person in this movie. She's probably the only character I actually felt sympathy for at some point. And Michael Pena tries with his performance as Mr. Rourke. He's fine. Like, he's not great, but, you know, he's at least trying. And the island that they're on looks really great. I just wish that the movie really capitalized on that, and it just doesn't. It's like, yeah, you're on this beautiful island. Everything is dark now. And it's like, if it built up to be darker, I kind of would have appreciated it more, but it's kind of all over the place in terms of like, oh, look how beautiful it is, and look how dark it is now, and like, I kind of wish it kind of like eased into it more. And yeah, that's going to lead into my many, 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 many issues with this movie. Now, I said Maggie Q and Michael Pena were the only solid actors in this movie. Everyone else is bad. Everyone else is bad. Lucy Hale, who, interestingly enough, also starred in Truth or Dare, is also in this movie. And she's really bad in this movie. Every scene she does, her eyes are like wide open, like, oh my god, oh my god. Like, even in scenes where she's just having a normal conversation, it's like, so, what's your fantasy? And like, it looks like she's reading off a cue card, for crying out loud. Oh, her performance is really bad in this movie. Also, Ryan Hansen and Jimino Yang, I think that's how you pronounce his name. They play step-siblings in this movie who can't really be separate from each other. And they're very, very generic. They really have no character other than, oh, I love my step-sibling so much. And that's it. Well, there are a few other things, but that's not really important right now. Austin Stowell also plays another person on the island. Yeah. Everyone's just flat. No one really has a character in this movie. Again, aside for like Maggie Q and Michael Pena, that's it. Again, those are the only people I really care for. But the thing about this movie is like, it's marketed as a horror movie, and it's not scary. Not at all. Like, I did not flinch once. I was not frightened once. I felt nothing during this movie. Like, literally nothing. It wasn't really scary. Like, all these situations are more intense than scary. Like, there's a scene where the step-siblings, they're encountered by a group of robbers, essentially, like, who want to kill them, and it's more intense than scary, and it's like, and then again, they had to do it well in order to be intense and scary, and it wasn't intense or scary. And nothing really happens in this movie. It's like, all the scenes that happen in this movie, they kind of like, for a while, they kind of play out the fantasies one by one. It's like, okay, here's the step-siblings, here's Maggie Q, here's Austin Stowell, here's Lucy Hale, and it's like, all their fantasies are played out back to back to back, and the way it's edited is just uninteresting. It's so boring watching it. That's the thing about this movie. It's boring. It's the most boring movie I think I've sat through this year so far. Like a bunch of other other movies this year, like I mentioned, I thought about The Grudge, rhythm section. Those movies kind of bored me. But no, this is the most boring movie of the year. Like, was just I was just in my seat going, do something, please. Something of interest. Come on. And like, because of those scenes and like how they play out, it's like sometimes they go deeper into their fantasies and go into the consequences of their fantasies before others. And because of that, the pacing's really off. The runtime of this movie is about 109 minutes long, which, quite frankly, is like 20 minutes longer than this movie needs to be. This could have been a simple, 90-minute movie. And it wouldn't be great, but at least it knew what it was. But it wants to be more than what it is. It wants to be something that means more. And it doesn't. It doesn't work. It really doesn't work. Oh my god, it does not work. And like, even when they try to be scary or intense, like, because it's PG-13, yeah, the slasher movie's PG-13, because that worked with Black Christmas so much, they don't even show, like, the actual violence on the screen. I'm not, like, a big critic of violence in movies, or it's, like, just as long as it works, but it just looks so awful that you kind of wonder, like, why they even made this PG-13. Like, what was the point of it? Like, oh yeah, we gotta get those 13-year-olds who know what the hell Fantasy Island is. Whatever. And, like, throughout the movie, they keep explaining all the rules of the island. It's just so annoying. It's just so obnoxious. Like, they have a bunch of rules that essentially just kind of contradict each other. It's like, wait, wouldn't this break this rule? And wouldn't this break this rule? And, we gotta talk about the twist ending. There's a twist ending in this horror movie, of course. And just why? It's just a horrible ending. It makes absolutely no sense. And again, it just breaks more rules. And I was just confused throughout the entire movie. Like, wait, what? What? Like, how? When? Like, someone explain this damn island, please. Man, this movie's bad. So, like, my fantasy would be, a world where this movie doesn't exist. Like, please. It's not scary. It's not interesting. None of the characters are good. It's horribly paced. There's no scares. There's nothing. There's nothing. Again, like, one or two performances are fine. But, other than that, nothing. Just nothing. I'm gonna give Fantasy Island 0.5 out of 4 stars. Skip it. Oh yeah, I should also mention this. Something else that kind of pissed me off. I should have realized I should have said this. That also pissed me off about this movie. There are, like I mentioned in like The Turning and Gretel and Hansel, that there are dream sequences in the movie. Can you guess what I'm going to talk about? Dream sequences. Oh god, oh god. First you have a dream sequence involving Maggie Q, and she has a hand coming over, and she's like, oh my god, and then she wakes up next to some guy, and it's like, it's all normal. It's like, oh. And she's like nervous and such. And then like the next scene, Austin Stowell has a dream sequence as well. And I'm like, oh, come on, that is just lazy. Lazy. If you are writing a horror movie and you put a dream sequence in it, just stop. Just go back. Do not do that anymore. I'm tired of it. After watching The Turning, Gretel and Hansel, and now Fantasy Island, stop it. Oh boy. Oh boy. Back to my rating, 0.5 out of 4 stars, skip it. Just don't say Fantasy Island. Just don't. You deserve so much better. I deserve so much better. Everyone involved deserves so much better. Well, maybe not everyone, but... So, what's your fantasy? Comment down below, subscribe to the channel. This is Pat, and take care.